Bonjour, bonjour, comment ça va? Je suis Cotalia, bienvenue matos de la Livre Randu de la Cour Imperial, matos de la Livre. Bienvenue, c'est mon cher. Welcome to my channel. This morning we are going to be unpacking and speaking on the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre African American Divination Seership Reference Book. We're going to get into a variety of things. I'm so excited about having this morning because we are going to have the editors, readers, and a variety of other individuals that are going to be here to share this incredible moment with us. But before we get deep into all of those conversations and all of those things, I must first ask you to please give this video a thumbs up, leave a sweet, kind comment below. But most of all, right now, I want for you all to go and share this video. I wanted to make sure that we did have enough people in the chat and give people enough time. Sego, bonjour, clan mother. Hello, hello, hello. And I really would love for you to again to share on your pages, on your channels, and all of those things because we really want to make sure that everyone here has a clear understanding about what we're getting into, what you're about to be getting into, and all of those things. So I am super, super, super excited about this. Now, before we get into all of the juicy details of the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, the reference book, I first and foremost want to bring up a couple of things. Please remember that we do, in fact, have our February community service. Today is the last day to get this. I encourage you, if you're going to get this today, along with the reference book, the card sets, etc., that you do all of this and separate those payments into 4 installments. So that link is all here and all of those things. Again, we do have our African Traditional Religion Part 2 class and Bible Conjuration and Spells. Today will be the last day to grab that. And today is the last day to get your 2024 Hoodoo Queen Conjure Fete tickets. In-person tickets or tickets with products. You can still get the virtual ticket that has no products, but if you want products, today is the last day to get that. So do yourself a favor and jump right on over into those spaces. Um, you know, funny enough, I was just sitting here thinking to myself, I said, Queen said, Self, is there anything that you have possibly forgot to add in the queue? And I didn't forget this, but I will say, I've downloaded and uploaded so many things that that it would be insane for me to find it at this moment. So, what I would love to do at this very, very brief moment here is to share with you all something incredibly special to me. Now, today we are bringing our focus solely to the book, the reference book. We're not even getting into the cards of it all, but the reference book. You all, I was just sitting back thinking, like I said last evening, it's now been going on in 5 days. It would have been 8 months that we have worked on this book. A book that we thought would take 2 months, maybe. And I honestly, as I've gone back to read this book, there's a lot that was said that I wasn't even present for. So something divine had to have intervened during this time because I'm like, let me take notes. Did I say that? Couldn't have been me. And that's something that's very, very come and you will see with me. Sometimes I will speak to you and you see Queen Cotalia speaking, but baby, it ain't her. It ain't she. And and that's why a lot of people that have become accustomed to being around me, if I say something and go, Queen, you didn't say it, but you said it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this because I know that you think you're just talking, but what I know what you're really saying is this about to go down, and so I need to get this done. And when I look back at this book, this reference piece, it in fact brings that. I also want to give you all. I'm gonna wait till I bring. I'm gonna let you know now. I need for you to watch this to the very end because I'm gonna give you all a little surprise. So just stay tuned. But at this moment in time, I want to introduce to you the cover of the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre. This incredible, I get chills just thinking about it because we have finally have gotten to this point. And voila, here we go. Here is the cover to the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre. What you are actually looking at are a couple of things that you may not understand, but this is actually the back of the card that you see here. There are things from my family's insignia. There are spirits like Haijon. There are snakes, black and gold. There are a variety of other elements, dahlias, in addition to skulls of crows and flies. And all of these are particular elements that are very sacred to the Milnamedos de la Livre lineage. At this time, I am not going to drag this out because there's a lot to cover. But at this time, I would like to introduce and bring on the head editor and my most trusted individual, I probably would say, one of my most trusted individuals on the face of the earth, because this individual knows me like you all may never will. And at this moment in time, I would like to introduce the head editor of Black Eden Publications, Miss Sasha Ravi.
Hello, good
Hello,
morning.
good morning. How are you?
Like I want to say, oh, I miss you, but we were just texting yesterday.
Literally, I know. How are you doing?
Ooh, now like you were mentioning, now that we have everything pretty much situated, I feel like my head is above water in a good way. So it's like now I can enjoy, everything that's coming along with the book. So I will say that I'm definitely proud of the both of us, because yeah, we did that. Like,
And
look,
we
we did
did. And we did. So Sasha, could you tell everyone a little bit about you, about
that.
your business, how to follow you on social media? I'm gonna get a lot of that stuff out of the way now.
Yes.
You all just listen. So who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? And again, how can people support you?
Yes. So, as co-mentioned, my name is Sasha Reve, and I am the owner, like you said, head editor, kind of like everything for Black Eden because that's like my baby. I've been doing, self-publishing in that way since 2015, but I've been like writing professionally since 2012. So, you can follow me definitely on Instagram, XOXO Sasha underscore Reve, or Black Eden Publications, either page.
And so, what does Black Eden Publications, what is your main focus? What are you shifting into? What projects do you have coming up that people can possibly follow or support?
Yep. So when I initially started out, it was really just a way for me to put out my own books because I'm an author as well. But it evolved into a bigger situation where I was so blessed to work with other authors and, help get their books off the ground. But my focus now, I think, is helping people like you have an idea, you know what you want your book to be, and you want to kind of take that ownership. So we do a lot of like self-publishing packages, writing coaching, just basically all the resources I wish I would have had when I was initially starting out, because everything that I know now is from trial and error. And so my mission is to help writers not have to kind of go through certain things, because if you know the information, then it's a lot easier. So I would say we're definitely a resource for other writers at this point.
Perfect. Now, could someone please type Sasha's IG handles in the text, in the comment box, please? People are asking for them.
Okay.
Sasha, if you want to do that as well, or someone can do that for her.
I was gonna say,
Now
can I
I
do it? Oh
listen.
no.
You just focus here. Someone else will do
Okay.
it for her. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that I just wanted to bring up is that Sasha is actually the individual that helped launch, assist me in helping launching Conjure House Publications. Um, this is the individual that, so all of the books that you all see, all of the things that you've done has honestly have been filtered through, looked through, but also just giving me the insides of this is how a publication works. This is how
Hmm.
things are going to go on. These are things that I have dealt with, and so forth and so on. And so I just want to say, for honestly, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for all of those things.
It's been amazing.
Okay, so somebody's already trying to get the product and saying they can add shipping. Please give me a moment. That should not be a problem, but just give me a brief second here. I will just say, because some people are like, I'm not waiting. I know
Look
that,
now, right
yeah,
now.
some people are going like, I know that. Um, so that's a shipping class. That one has a shipping class. It has standard. This one has shipping class and it's standard. Because I've been up since 4 a.m. Um, shipping class stand two, okay. This one also has shipping class standard. So I'm trying to make sure all of them has, because that's one of the biggest things. Shipping class one standard, okay. And then, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch everything over to shipping class one. I did not want to do that, but I'm going to do that because I know shipping class one works. But I was trying to give y'all a lesser shipping cost, to be honest, and that may be the problem here. So I'm just going to go everything to one. I do apologize, but I just want to make sure you all, when you do have the um the opportunity to purchase, that you can um easily and effortlessly without any issues. Um, so I have now saved those changes, and I am going to just update the page here. Et voila, voila. Um, all right. So let me jump back over here. Now, as mentioned, hold on, there's a couple of things here in the situation. The book is only available to the cover. So no, everything is available. The book, the cards, and also for all pre-orders, which is happening now, you all get a journal as well. The journal comes with the cards, the book, for you to document your connections with the divine. Okay. It's really good company. I've seen a lot of books published through Black Eden, someone says in the comment.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Even some of your celebrities that you may know, in fact, in the fashion world and things. So yes, there's so many great, wonderful things here. So, all right, the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, the reference, because we're not
Yeah.
even going to really get into the cards. But if you do want to get into the cards, everybody, I just want to briefly bring your attention to the background. Are those the standard Hoodoo Tarot
if
de
you
la Livre?
if you've noticed.
I mean, I don't know, but you may possibly. So these, in fact, are the this is the casing for the standard set. This is the casing for the standard set, so you guys can see that clear. Okay, and this is a Lux box that you are going to be receiving, and you are, again, this is just a good, sturdy, solid box.
Mhm.
But I'm not showing y'all the Imperial ones until next Sunday. And baby, I
Y'all
promise
not ready.
y'all really ain't. But see, Sasha, see, she's seen it all. She has seen
Yes.
it all. And so she knows. So y'all are not ready. I'm not giving y'all anything until next Sunday. Um, so yeah, so there's that. Um, beautiful cover. Yes, thank you. So I wanted to talk about, oh yes, I forgot to mention, stay to the end. I'm giving y'all a surprise. It's a big surprise. Huge surprise. So just stay tuned. Now, the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, the system, because you really have to look at it as a system. Y'all, Sasha and I actually considered separating this into 2 volumes, but you can't.
Listen, you can't. It would be doing it such a disservice. Like, it
Truly.
needs to be in one bud.
Yes. And it's literally like 4 different books in one. So, something that
Hmm.
I do want to share with you all when it comes to the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, and this is just the reference book. Get this, everybody, just the reference book. You have the option for a hardcover, which
Hmm.
all the Imperial cards come with the hardcover book, or the paperback. And that is going to be your standard set. It has the introduction and history of traditional Eurocentric tarot. If you are a Black American, I'm sorry to tell you, but those baby hairs more than likely are not indigenous. In fact, they could be Karens. They could
Oh my
be Karens.
goodness.
More than likely, it's giving
Look.
Martha Stewart. It's
Well,
giving Paula Dean. But I'm just saying, this is a fact. So I actually give you all the history, an introduction to traditional Eurocentric tarot, because you need to understand where tarot comes
yeah.
from. You need to understand who did it and why, and what were they actually saying in these cards. Did you actually know that tarot started out as a play as a card game? As a card game, tarot, the term tarot, tarotkati, etc., in the space of um of the European of European history, it was a card game. Tarot. I want y'all to understand that, because when I say tarot, y'all are hearing divination system. No,
Yeah.
the term tarot is actually from a playing card game, a cards game. But a lot of people don't know that. It wasn't until later on that it became a divination system through the French. But it was presented as like Uno or blackjack or
Hmm.
spades or something. Okay. So it's important to know that. We then go into Afro presenting and modern tarot. What you think they're doing versus what actually is being done. what you think you're doing versus what actually is being, what you're actually are or aren't doing. As I mentioned in my video the other day, are you reading are you reading tarot or aren't you? Are you giving us the definitions or do you know what the card is communicating? Better yet, does it even matter if you are an intuitive tarot reader? Because it doesn't really matter what the card says when you're feeling things about it. I feel this, I think that, I perceive this way. But why are you perceiving something when when you don't? The answer is here on the card.
Mhm.
Hmm? So we begin to unpack some of these things. Also, questions like, is the Afro presenting deck African because it paint the people brown? Let that sit in. Let that sink in. If I took Rachel Zodadal or whatever her name is and I painted her brown, does it make her a black woman? Does it mean
Well,
that she was the black
she would hope
experience?
so. She would hope
She could only wish and dream.
so.
Does it give her the cultural ability to communicate to you what your ancestors failed? If she wrote a black book, even if it was historically true about other black people, does it make her black? If she wrote a book about Martin Luther the King, okay, Zora Neale Hurston or Sarah Vaughan, does it make her black? So I have to ask you all that question. When you're reading your black presenting tarot, is it black? We then have to understand another big part is understanding your gifts or skills as your skill set as a diviner. Understanding how to utilize your psychic ability in card reading, your mediumship abilities in card reading, your hypersensitivity in card reading, your space of second sight or prophetic abilities in card reading. So you have to understand that those are different things. So then we have to talk about building the skill set of a diviner. Also, with the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, it is a dual set because, as I mentioned last night, it's not just tarot. You can remove, so for example, in the traditional cards, in traditional tarot, you receive the major arcana. The major arcana does not exist here. We have court cards. Outside of the court card, I mean, we have imperial cards, excuse me, imperial cards. Outside of the imperial cards, we have the minors, which are court cards. The court cards you can use by themselves as playing cards. You can remove all the imperial cards and use the court cards as playing cards because the imagery provides you with the playing card icons to do so. This is one of these situations that will remove your edges beyond all measures. This is what we call skinning your head to the white meat. And that is because in the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, I present to you 78 different spells, all relating to every card that is in the deck. 78 different spells from fertility to money to protection, you name it. 78 different spells. This is why we're telling y'all there are 4 books in this
Mhm.
one. You have one book that solely speaks to just divination, another book that speaks just to the tarot, another book that speaks to just spell work. But we also, in that spell work in the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, actually provide you with identifying every spirit and omen in every card in order for you to know how, in fact, these cards are communicating. You're not going to leave away knowing the definition. You will know what these cards are saying. When you look at the card, you're not going to be able to look at the card and go, oh, this is what this means. You're going to have to look, in order for you to really be able to read, you're going to have to look into the art. Okay? You need that money spell, baby Renaissance woman? Hit that February community service. Thank you. Pay me now, my baby. All right. Beyond that, we also go into card care, spiritually and mundanely. So that's just a quick little boom, boom, boom of what the cards actually provide. Sasha, in your experience with the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, what has this been for you as a practitioner and not the editor? Because that's a different set of eyes.
Yep. So, yeah, as co-mentioned, I've worked with her on basically all the books that
Hold
she's
up,
put
hold up.
out
Let's
under.
pause real quick. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
And just for you all to know, Sasha and I have had over a decade of a relationship at this point. Sasha actually came to me as a client.
Yep.
She came to me as a client. But this is why, like, when I tell y'all, I am not stingy, but I saw her ability, her gift, what she could do, and I began to invest. And so this has been over a decade of a relationship. And Sasha, have you had a pleasant or a unpleasant relationship with me?
It was terrible.
Yes, she is here 10 years later.
No, I
Have you
think
been bamboozled? Have you been scammed? Have you been taken advantage of? I'm just saying, because some
in this
people
situation.
in our relationship at all.
Oh, of course not. No, so like you, I started off as a client, and we actually included that in the book, so I won't give that away. But after my call with her, I can't remember. She just said something about a book, or like, do you do books, or something like that, and we just started communicating about books, and I can't even remember what the first book was because it's been so many.
I want to say the first probably was the Queen of Spades.
Yeah. Okay. Now that you just said that, yes. So I have been so blessed and lucky that I love books. I love editing. I love writing. So I get that aspect. But working with Co gave me kind of an in.
Hold up,
Oh,
pause
sorry.
again. I'm so
Yes.
sorry. And again, I know that you all hear her calling me Co, and some of
Oh,
y'all may
sorry.
find it
Queen Co.
disrespectful. But the thing about it is, Sasha met me before I was queen.
Yeah.
So like
Sorry. Look, I'm a key.
so we go that
I'm
far
going to say
back.
the queen.
And
Yeah.
some
Look,
people
I'm
gonna
a.
be like, some people are like, excuse me, what
So
are
there's no
the
confusion.
and I don't get offended
Yeah.
because it's like even my family, that's just how it goes. So I just wanted to bring that. All right. So I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I know. Look, never in disrespect, but
Yeah.
no. The Queen allowed me like just insight into a world that I like. No one in my family practices hoodoo or any type of other magical system, divination system, nothing like that. So I was fascinated because honestly, as a kid, I've been the one that wanted, like, I was in the metaphysical shops. I love crystals, I love all these things, but I could never connect it. So when we started working on the books, it was like I was learning all these different things that I could apply to my life. And then I was able to be like a little fly on the wall for the Hoodoo Institute. So just really seeing how she operates and how dedicated she is and how like thorough, like, you could see whoever on Instagram or social media saying whatever about whatever, but she is so authentic because this is her real life. It's not something that she's trying to sell. She lives it. So I just been enamored with that. And so with this project in particular was basically like all the books we've ever done wrapped up into like one book in regard to like content, the workload, the size of it. It was just such a bigger and heavier version than anything she's ever done. But that came with so much information and knowledge that I could apply to my own life. So it was really special.
Thank you. And what would you say as a reader of the Hoodoo
Yeah.
Tarot de la Livre was one of those or two of those very impactful moments?
As a reader, definitely, because it's like you have to get through the whole book. It's like there's really no one part that supersedes the other, but going in order, learning about all the tarot stuff, because I'm also a French descent that, I've recently discovered. And so the playing card aspect really speaks to me more than the tarot aspect, but just learning where this stuff comes from, kind of who was responsible for what. As a reader, that was really, really interesting. And then once you guys do read the book, you'll see it's in Queen's voice. You know what I mean? Like it's literally gonna feel like she's sitting there talking to you, or it's an audio book. Like that was one important thing for me as an editor. It's like, yes, making sure it's what it needs to be, but I didn't want to take her out of it. So I love that reading back. It's like I was in those conversations, so it sounds like literally how she said it to me, while we were talking. So as a reader, I really enjoy that it didn't sound like a textbook, super, impersonal, just all this information. You get kind of the best of both worlds.
And as a practitioner,
Hmm.
what really jumped out to you in this space? I know that we actually touched on the space of hermeticism.
Yes. So this is like two parts. So in regards to the book and to the cards, because this book is so big, it required me to go over it. And Queen two, like going over it and over and over it. So looking at those cards and the omens really just, I think, strengthened them and solidified them, that like if I am out in the world and I see, these different things, I don't have to think about it, because the cards are so beautifully illustrated, that, yeah, like the omens, even when it's paired with the spell work, you can see why kind of, this goes where. So as a practitioner, I think, Queen talks about this all the time, of like your spiritual vocabulary, of like really knowing what means what for you. And so I was able to study these 78 cards over like she said, the course of 8 months. So I feel like I have such a stronger understanding of these particular omens, and that makes me excited, to venture out and see what else resonates. So yeah, there's that. And then the hermeticism, that's also in the book. It's just crazy because as an African American, I identify as, I never heard of hermeticism in real time. So the space that I find my in 100% is like divinely led, that I was able to connect with like alchemy and just these different things that I again would have never gotten exposure to, or I don't even think I would have known what to do with it if I hadn't met Queen. So yeah, this book definitely on the surface, it's about the system, it's about the cards, but you'll be able to take so much from it to apply to other aspects of your life.
Thank you.
Hmm.
And I also, think it would be very important for people to understand that if you think that you're going to get through this book easily,
That's what we thought.
as the head editor, she's like, oh, just give me a day or two. A
Yeah,
week later, Queen, I
don't
don't know
worry
why I
about it.
thought I don't know why I thought that I could get through, she was like, and this was just The
But
first
look,
chapter. I haven't even got to the
let
five
me
yet.
say this. Let me say this. In my whole experience, almost 10 years of like self publishing on my own, I've never had to do a book like this, and I never was asked to do a book like this. So this complete me like stretched me in the best way possible because I feel like I gained all these different skills that I can apply to my own book, you know, like other people's books. But yeah, in my head, I'm thinking like, oh, we've done books before. They never took 8 months, so why would I be thinking that? But now I'm like, oh no, this was different. This was different.
Again, even with myself, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do this. Baby, we got done. Baby, we
Oh my
it was not
gosh, we were
it was
both so optimistic. Like, oh
yes,
yeah,
oh
like this
yes, let's
week.
just oh boom, let's yeah, we can get this, that, boom, boom. Oh no,
No, no.
oh no. Okay now. Now
But it
one
was
of my
very on brand because this book is really special. So it's like no one is going to be able to just go through and rush it because if I did that, then I don't feel like I did my job as your editor. Um and yeah, it's your book, so you wanted to make sure that it was what you wanted it to be. So we really combed through this. Like I told her with a rat tail comb. Like
baby, the
we
radius.
so yes.
So I am actually at this time, and I would love for you to stay here, Sasha. I'm going to at this time begin to bring in the other um readers. Now, as I before I bring those in, I want bring everyone in. I just want to briefly communicate a couple of things. I first and foremost, why did I choose these readers? Some people are like, why did you choose them? Da 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 da. Well, the first thing is I trust them.
Mm.
I trust them, number one. So that's point blank, period.
Mhm.
I need to send the manuscript to two other individuals, and I am going to send it to them. Speaking of, one just jumped in, Marcel, and the other one will be Jennifer English. I'm going to send it to those two individuals. Um, I've learned that whatever Queen puts out is going to take a while to process. Even the smaller books are packed with so much info. You gotta eat it
Mhm.
slow. Yes, don't bring your tongue.
Oh, so
So
look, I don't want to interrupt, but I will say too, like when we initially started this project, I think Queen had an idea of what she wanted it to be in her mind, but every time we met, it was just something that evolved or
yes,
something that it was
it was
like, yes, we should
divine.
add. It was just growing and growing. So I think 100% we both thought like this was going to be very straightforward, but it took on a life of its own because it was
Which
supposed to
is
be this
why it's
particular
a
book.
living system. This is
Yep.
why it is
Yep.
alive.
For
Because
literally.
this,
Look.
I mean, honestly, this is exactly it because it took a life of its own. This is what
Yep.
consecration is. When you begin to listen to those spirits, you separate yourself from what you are doing. And I didn't know what's happening. That's what I'm like. I literally messaged Sasha the other day and I go, Sasha, I called her. I said, these are the notes that I've had since I've been reading the book. I was like, oh my goodness, oh my gosh. So, like, for example, um, I'm just going to share with you guys like some of the notes that I ended up um coming coming out of, just like I said, going back on my own, reading slowly.
Mhm.
Um, let me see here because it's in my notes. Oh yes. Just like whenever you start going through the book and even like reading the cards, um, it's broken up in a space where you can read just the definitions, keywords, and phrases. There's another section where it gives you a, as we call, at a glance. So when you look at the card, and then I break down how
Mhm.
to actually read the cards, how they would convey in a reading. As I began to look over these things, it was like keywords. I see them, but they're not really. And I'm talking about my experience. I'm like, okay, I see what it's saying. I'm like, well, let me go find a bigger explanation of how it would be, how it would read. And I'm reading it. I'm like, okay, I comprehend what I'm reading, but I did not comprehend what the spirits were saying to me until I got to the until I went back and looked at the part at a glance. What is in the card?
Mm-hmm.
What does this spirit actually do? That gives you the details.
Yeah.
Like that was really huge for me. And then one of those other things is sort of what I brought the other day. When I talked about, are you reading the cards versus the definition, etc. Well, that again, I learned as a child, but it was one of those things that was like, oh my goodness, this is what my great grandma was saying. I 800 years later, now I get it. So, anyways, Sasha, please stay in here
Yes.
as we bring on impressive magic, as we bring on Black Biblio Media. How's it? The Media Mania. Mania, excuse me. I need to update. I made a mistake on a thing that I'm gonna be posting for you. We also have Oaks in the house and Josie B's in the house. Hey everybody. How are you doing? Y'all can unmute yourselves. No worries. I want to hear your voices.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
Hi.
All right. So as you see here, edges are still attached. Um,
Barely.
I'm
Barely.
like,
they said it's a filter.
Barely.
Okay. So I want to say I'm so happy to have all of you here during this time because each of you come from a very different standpoint, very different perspective. We have someone that comes from a space of I love books. I've always loved books. I just want to read and see where
look,
it takes me.
uh,
Look,
that's me.
you are there, and you also have that editor's eye. We also have Black Bibliomania as well that has that a very similar situation, but she is more green in the spiritual space where you are more seasoned. We
Mhm.
have another individual here, Impressive Magic, that is an avid tarot collector. She actually came into my world on the front of being, one of these girls out here that, yes, vibrations and energies and, you know, happy New Heritage Month and all of these things, and was looking for that tribe, So she comes at it from that space and became again, because this is where she starts, it's going to definitely have a different impact on her.
Mhm.
We then have Josie. Okay. Um, Someone said, I'm still reading Queen of Spades and Roots and Roosters. um, and then we have someone like Josie, who one has experienced the Institute, and has done very well with playing card readings, but outside of what she knows, when it comes to tarot, it could very well just be Uno.
And what? Bingo.
you know and so is that space, and then you have Oakley here, or Oaks, excuse me, who actually
Anything for you, Queen. Anything you want to call me.
thank you, I appreciate it. We also have Oaks here, who is definitely clearly of European descent, but also someone that comes from a completely different culture. And I was interested, how does it affect, touch, or make this individual feel if they are holding it? So I am honored and blessed. Like I said, I'm going to also send my manuscript to Marcel as well as to Jennifer, because I'm very interested to see how it also connects to them. And I'll bring them on at a different time. Because I'm just thinking to myself, all the different avenues of different places and spaces and roads that I really would love to hear how it again touches those individuals. So that being said, I'm just going to first start off by asking, we'll start off with Nelly. Well, before I begin with Nelly, I want to mention this as well. The Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, the reference is built for anybody that wishes to divine. Anybody who wishes to divine. Not a particular ethnicity or culture, but anyone who wants to know to divine. All you need is the reference book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to give you that. And then it goes into the space of culture if you're interested in educating yourself on the culture. Listen to what I said, educating yourself on the culture. But then it goes even further to if you wish to connect to your culture or the culture, which is another space. So understand that this system, yes, it very much comes from a space, but everybody will be able to eat at this table and leave away more than full. It's going to take a minute to digest before you think you want seconds. so there's that. So first and foremost, we're going to hit Nelly, then we're going to hit Oaks, then we're going to hit Josie, and then we're going to hit Black Bibliomania. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what is your first impression of the book?
Okay, I am Nelly and I am from Arkansas. And my first impression is that it is very, very, very thick. It's a lot. It's a lot to process, and the way that Queen and Sasha included the conversations. I'm trying not to give too much, but I'm so excited. Um, from the beginning to the end and really solidifying this is where you should be is like it's a swat on the hand, it's a chokehold, you're gonna have to purge, and then later on it's just a warm hug. I don't know if I'm at the warm hug part just yet, but it's definitely that grandparent is just touching you on your shoulder, like, baby, it's gonna be okay. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. I feel like I'm going through a heartbreak with tarot, because I do own like over 100 decks. Majority of them are from Black creators. That's something that I pride myself on, but it's not the same whatsoever. The way that Queen has replaced, not even reimagined, remixed, replaced the traditional tarot and top tarot. So I knew a little bit about the backgrounds of how they came to be, but I knew that I was researching history that wasn't my own. So I just used it as a medium, because that's what cards are if you're not a medium, to really connect to the other side with myself and with people that trust me and I trust them. Um, but with this reference guide, it causes you just to slow down. I know when I first read just the acknowledgments, it had me boo-hooing. Like, I thought I could pray over myself, or my family, over my friends. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I immediately text Queen that it reminded me of a gate where all of your past is now in front of you, but now you get to go and with these rose-colored glasses and see all of the things that you have missed. So you can now carry those lessons forward with you. I'm getting emotional now. I already hear it. Um, but it's definitely a call home. And I'm in mourning, but I'm excited to really see the cards, because I haven't seen the cards yet. But just the descriptions and everything that Queen mentioned. And I know throughout this book, especially the first beginning, like I was arguing with my iPad, but I was like, but Queen, just listen. And it's so easy for you to get caught in that because Queen and Sasha was just so geniusly added those conversations. So it really is Queen and her people, our people talking to you. And so I found myself, I might share some of my notes when I first was reading it. I might not.
Sorry,
But
if I can interrupt,
uh,
during our calls, it was me really like I wanted to share my information with her, and she's like, put this in the book. I definitely wouldn't have been like, put it in the book, but I'm like, I have questions and I have comments and I have different things, and she's like, you know what? Transcribe that and put it in the book. So when she told me that it was resonating, that made me feel so good because she's really one of the only people I can talk about this stuff with. So the fact that there's other people that's like me too, I'm like, yeah, it's just so exciting. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
And thank you for bringing that up, Sasha, because I understand again, and this is what upsets me with the metaphysical world. I'm gonna just be very frank with you all. I understand that my perception is one dimensional, mostly because of my upbringing and because of who I am. But I also know my purpose, and my purpose is to connect. I can't connect you unless I'm listening to what you need, what you want. And then how can I make sure that is done? So when you're in my presence and you're asking these questions, I'm like, baby, she don't understand, but she is asking questions for thousands and generations that have gone on that will never know these answers. So I have to make sure that people understand that I will answer your questions, but that is where I am mostly abused. Because when I give people that space and it gives a light to them, it is then taken. Oh, well, now I'm empowered. So who am I and who is she? And I am deserve this and all of these things. But this is why the Imperial cards are a limited item. Everybody don't deserve them, even if you can afford them. Period. It may become a day where I stop printing the books. Everything has an expiration date. And just because you have something, that's why when people go, oh, well, you're talented, not me, just in general, your talent's supposed to be shared. No, it's not. Somebody was talented at making crack, and look what it did. Okay.
Look, you talk about achievement versus success in the book. So.
And I do. And I'm telling you, and I will say some people will tell you, if you can get past the first 21 pages, you have succeeded. You have achieved a milestone.
Oh, it's me. Because I was thinking to other folks, oh my gosh, I'm hit, I'm bruised, I'm ducking, I'm trying to explain myself. I'm like, okay, did I come back to it? I'm like, oh, yeah, those first 20 pages, if you can make it out of that, if you are already a tarot reader, yeah, because I realized that my connection to the tarot, although I use it as a medium, it was very superficial because I felt like I didn't need all of those because of my other gifts. But as a like just diviner, it was very superficial. I know Queen must have asked that same question, and I don't want to say the question because I want you guys to read it. I want to say maybe 10 times during those first 25 pages. And each time my answer was like a little bit different, but and then I realized I've ran out of buts. You know, it's very
She said there's not a BBL that
no, that can save you from being dragged in the most humble of terms. So yeah, that was my first experience.
your first experience. So Oaks, what about you? And also, and again, like I said, some individuals here, Oaks is, you know, a well written individual. Oaks actually gifted me some very, very nice things when it comes to literature. Let people know a little bit about you, and also what was your first expression, your first impression of the book and your experience.
Yes, of course. So I'm Oakley. I'm a poet and a writer and a diviner from the UK. I think it's kind of twofold. The kind of the first impression of the whole thing extant is just that, you know, it is true what you're saying. It is the first tarot system of its kind. And even though I'm European, you can really appreciate the magnitude of what that means, that for people who are Black diviners, seers, or just people who want to basically connect to the cosmologies and the beliefs of their own people, it's kind of mad that it's taken till 2024. But, you know, I think that in itself is a massive thing. But then the other thing I would say, as somebody who is a diviner, is that it's a pretty and I've not seen the cards, obviously, it's a pretty foundational text for anyone who wants to master their own kind of divination skills. It's like you were saying, Sasha, like the beauty of the book is that it contains so much education and wisdom, but also it's also done in Queen's voice, so that you do very much feel like you're sitting at her feet and learning, you know. All of these times you mentioned about your great grandmother and things that she taught you and things like this, and you don't really get that from anyone else, and you couldn't get that from anyone else. And when you listen to it, and that, you know, it was similar because you asked me to read it, and I was like, I can read this in a day, and I think it took me 3 days, and I can read quickly, and it just stopped me, and it was like sentence by sentence, and I was like, I need to speed up, and then it was like, that's not the point here, like you'll need, you know, that's like the opposite of what you need to do. And then so when I stopped, it's sort of one of these things that I think, even if you don't actually get the cards and you're just like, you know, I'm not going to operate within this particular tarot system, even by reading that book, it's going to completely change how you do things. And I think the other thing really quickly is important, and Nelly touched on it, is that if people are coming to the text with kind of pre-existing spiritual abilities, mediumship, whatever, I think it can actually be very difficult divining, because a spiritual gift doesn't need a tool in order to be activated. If you dream, you go to sleep, and then something, you know, happens. But what can be really tricky is actually navigating cards, because it's like what you were saying, it can sometimes confuse the reading, because it's like, this is saying this, but this is what's in front of me. And I think that was something I needed, because it was starting to become a little bit like, I'm having an argument here, and I'm just like, you know, you don't want to turn around and be like, I don't know, that's what you cannot do. That's like the one thing, you know, someone's going to you, be like, let me just work this out, and then I'll get back to you. You can't do that. So I think that's something that's really amazing about the book as well, is kind of actually cracking the code of that. So yeah, amazing
so Oakley,
job.
I'm going to ask more questions here, but I want to ask you something, because a lot of people, there are reasons why I don't trust people. There are reasons. There's political, there's spiritual, and mundane reasons. I don't have trust issues. It's a space of preservation and protection, etc., so forth and so on, as a royal. But I would love to ask Oakley. See, Oakley has provided me with a plethora of spiritual insights. Okay. Where Oaks has reached out to me and said, Queen, I dreamt this about you, or this has come up, and those things. Every single time I have listened, and I am aware. But Oaks, I want to ask you, in all of those times, how many times of the things that you saw came from cards, or were they all they were all dreams?
None.
So that speaks to your ability and your gift, which is why it is important when it comes to reading cards to respect the gift for what it is and divination as a method and skill set for what that is.
Mm.
And so it's super important for people to really understand it. And I break that down and I make that clear in the book. And it's so funny because I asked all of you, hey, just give me one part of the book that brings, whatever. I want to say maybe it's 4 y'all here. I want to say 3 out of the 4 people of color said this part about letting go of my feelings and my thoughts. And actually, like none of that matters when the card means what they mean. And it's the same experience that you had, Oaks.
Totally.
It was release the gift and just understand that this here has the answers. Here in the chat, curious as to how the book will not only impact me as a student, as a diviner, but how it would change the way I walk about through life. Absolutely. It's going to do that. After it breaks your legs and you are able to walk again, you will be a runway model. Okay. Um, you'll be a one-way model, but it will absolutely change the it will change the way how you walk about life because and we'll get into some of these excerpts here in a little bit, but and like Sasha mentioned, I can now walk my day to day and I see things and now I understand because again, a lot of you have been looking. I need a dream. I need a dream. What are my people saying? I'm not dreaming. I'm not a dreamer. They're not connecting. No, they are. It's under your foot. Pick up your foot, my baby. There's a coyote bone. There's or something. Or there's shavings of a bluebird or something along those lines. But now, because you understand how spirits communicate, there's no reason to have questions. There's no reasons to be doubting how the day is gonna go. There's no reason to even fear, doubt, or have anxiety about how things are going to happen when your people done laid the answer at your feet, literally,
Mm-hmm.
or in the songs that you're listening to. It's that thing that people don't have. This is why I've been saying for years, stop creating your path and connect to the path. It's there. But clearly your ego has outweighed your what you say you want.
Mm-hmm. Because I would say, I think it was around the time I was like shadowing the Hoodoo Institute and stuff, and just on social media, it was like, smudging and all this stuff, and you negative energy and smudge, 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 and it's like, okay, I started doing it. I can't even tell you how bad it rejected me, like the smudge stick. Like I couldn't get it to stay lit. It was popping. It was being so crazy. And then after we did the book with Clan Mother, and she's like, that's again a cultural kind of like, if you're in that space, yes, you can smudge. And so for me, I found out that bay leaf works for me. And so it's like, if I would have gone down that path of like, no, I need to smudge and do these things, I'm out of my element. But just listening to spirit and saying, well, why don't you try this? And I have such great resonance with just something that's in my kitchen cabinet. It's those kind of things that I think you become more sensitive to the voice of spirit, and you're more willing to be, led in the way that you need to be led instead of you trying to force your path. So, excuse me, I would say this book helps with that for sure.
Yes. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that. Now let us jump on over to, did I say Josie or Black Bibliomania? I think we're gonna go ahead with Josie. Let's go ahead and hit Josie up. Josie girl, how you doing? How was
Hey.
the experience for you?
So first.
And
I don't even know where to start. I don't know. Um, when I first got the book, I thought, okay, I'm pretty well read. It'll take me a few days. I'll get back to her, no problem. It'll take me a day. Hours went by, and I just got to the introduction. Like, I had to read it, come back, text you, like, what are you talking about? Like, I had to do things to get to reading, just the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It. And then I don't even know. I know nothing about tarot, so I was like, oh, okay, great. But then you started getting into the history, and I'm like, oh, oh. Now I want to know about that. Now I want to. You'll be all over the place while trying to grasp like what little dignity you might have as a diviner. You thought you were. You probably weren't.
So for
my life is a
you,
lie.
my life is a lie. So as someone that doesn't know about tarot and those things, how did the reference to where you are now? Because I don't know if you've even finished it all, because it's very it's
No.
I'm trying to think of a word.
Heavy.
It's truth. It's
Yes.
true. Look, I was gonna say, because it's not, because again, I say it all the time. Truth and facts sound like I hate to know that hates truth and facts, of course. But it's not even the thing about the hating of it. It's just the matter of not really being in the presence of truth, like real truth, to the point that you can't deny it. Like it doesn't. It is. Listen, I'm gonna tell you now. Come on in. All of the haters, all of the enemies, all of the trolls, goblins, goons, etc., entertainers, influencers.
Ugh.
I know for a fact you're gonna hate that you like this book, but you are.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that when you get into this, you will not be able to deny the truth. For example, I'm not going to call this particular thing out, but Nelly brought it up. There are some of these card sets that y'all are reading out here telling y'all this is a spread. This spread then provides a remedy. But then you need to ask in your spread, what is the outcome? Isn't the remedy the outcome? If I go to a doctor and they give me a steroid shot for a sinus infection, my question should be, well, what's the outcome? So you mean we back at square one with questions? So we still don't know. Make it make sense. Can anybody make it make sense?
Yeah, that day I was like,
she messaged me early on a Wednesday morning talking about, Queen, you choosing violence. I didn't even know what she was talking about.
I was gagged and bedraggled, I'm telling you. I was like, oh. But it's true though. Although this deck, not a system, deck is a cult classic, I'm like,
and she's not talking about the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre.
No.
She's talking about another individual situation.
With that spread. I was like, ooh. But it's true though. It's true. If you give me a remedy, that should fix the problem.
So why are we asking about the outcome? This is why I'm saying, how are you asking the questions and how are you receiving the answers? Beyond that,
first. I was like, what are you talking about? Why are you asking me this like this? So early in the day.
Why was somebody mad at you? We don't really care about.
Right.
Let me stop. I said I was gonna be on my best behavior.
So the thing about it is like, you will never be able to argue that 1 + 1 is 2 or 2 + 2 is 4. Because if you do, you are choosing to live a lie, or you're delusional.
Mm.
Mhm.
And that's what the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre is as a reference, but the cards are way more reckless. Because there's not a well. It's this, and we can elevate this 9 different ways, but it's still this
So, mhm.
kind of deal. Um, and so there's that. Black Bibliomania.
Hello,
Let people know sort of your take on was first and foremost you as a book lover. Let people know how to find you all on social media as well. We'll go back through that with everybody. But how can people find you? But also, what was this for you, and how, as again another very green person when it comes to tarot?
well, yes. So I am. I haven't researched tarot at all. I've only been divining about maybe 2 or 3 years with playing cards. As a book lover, I am a researcher. Books are like my thing, especially books by Black authors, because there is a scarcity in old texts by Black authors and so forth. So my cause and my passion is collecting whatever type of reference by Black authors and so forth. So for this book, it really really set me up for the direction I need to go, you know as a diviner for myself, not as a practitioner for myself. And so I just want to thank you, for allowing me, to read this book and to experience it, before it hits the masses, because this is major.
Mhm.
Yes, you know it's very 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 casual. That's what I divining now is very casual. And you make people accountable. Hey, you are working with spirit. Show some respect. This is how you do this. This is how you approach this. This is where your mind needs to be before you go throwing out some cards.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so very much. So at this time, and I do want to just remind everybody, please, please make sure that you check out our February community service, the classes we have coming up. And remember, if you are a Coven or Spellcast member, you do get a discount on the decks, the sets, and the cards that is available. But at this moment, I wanted to briefly bring up.
Cole, can I say two things really quick? Sorry.
Sure, yes, please.
This is how our sessions were. It's like me interrupting all the time. But my comment, Oakley, as a fellow writer, editor, I appreciated your notes so much,
Yes.
because like Queen didn't prepare me for like
Sorry.
just you really like went in depth, and it was so appreciated, because you caught things that obviously we've been working on it every day for the past almost year. So it's like my mind is connecting the dots. So having that fresh perspective, I definitely think made it that much better. So I really appreciate your time and effort on that. And then also, since you guys haven't seen the cards, which I think is crazy, I just the complete book, design wise, is as extensive as it is like content wise. So when you guys see it, it's not just the cards, it's like the books, the cards, the information. So I'm really excited to see what you guys think once you see it in its full package. So yeah, because you guys, it's like you just scratched the surface.
Mhm.
So that was it.
Thank you. Thank you. No, and that is something else too. So again, that's why I actually sent it. Another big reason why I sent it over to Oakley is because, um, he is a poet and a writer as well, and so again, it's going to hit differently, for those eyes in that way. I'm gonna keep this Imperial set in a glass case mounted wall. I'm so excited. Someone says in the chat, I'm looking forward to having this and be able to pass it down through my family. So grateful. It is that. The
Yes.
reference in itself is that for any diviner. The system in itself is that for anyone who wants to connect and to do so. So what I was hoping to do here, in fact, share screen, but I want to not share this screen. This is only giving me the ability to share from that space. And then when I wanted to present video, I don't want to present video. So you know what, everybody? Don't want to give y'all a surprise now. I don't want y'all to wait till later. I don't know. So everybody, I think I'll do it now. If you have a phone, I suggest you get it out and make sure that you are watching this. Make sure that you are, in fact, watching this. For the first time ever, out of 3 years of incubation, you all will be the first to see or possibly see the Imperial cards, but only for 3 seconds. Screenshot the card you get, and I will tell you what that means. In 3, 2, 1. All right. I hope everyone had a chance to do so. All righty. Shot my heart beating so fast with the excitement. All right. So did everyone get your screenshot? Yes. Nelly, what did you get?
Oh, I got the rider. I'm so excited. Definitely where it's supposed to be. So, yeah.
My phone was cutting up, somebody said. Well, you can go back and replay it. All right. Sasha, what did you get?
Oh, I didn't take a screenshot.
You're no fun. Okay. Okay. So
know what they mean.
yes, Black Bibliomania, what did you get?
I think I just got this one. The one maybe I did it too slow.
What did you get?
The first card, the card that's on the screen right now.
Okay.
I got that as well.
All right. So here we go. We'll do it one more time.
No, hold on.
Oh. Ready? Here we go. Y'all ready? Here we go. Y'all ready? Is everybody ready?
Yes.
1 second. Almost. Okay, yes.
Here we go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That was all 22 of the cards in those 3 seconds. All right. So I'm excited to see people some people have the doll baby, some people got the lone wolf, some people have the moss, some people got the truth, the root worker, the backbone. Girl, I miss it. I got the roots worker. Yes, you can make it your IG. I mean, I'm doing it public, so yeah.
I know I love the doll baby card.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So someone has the spiritualist. Someone has the 2 foxes. Yes, that's Papa. The backbone. Okay. So everybody, if you are recognizing these things, there's no people. This is the Imperial cards. This is your major arcana. You cannot have these cards without the book. You will not know what is related to the wheel of time, or what's related to the justice card, or none of that. You have to have the book, or you have to know these spirits. If you have been in the institute, you know some of these spirits. Okay. So there's that. Um, all right, I got a spiritualist the first time, the second time. All righty. Marcel said the card cover, the cover card is gorgeous. That's what I keep getting. And baby, you don't need to know
Yeah.
that.
So,
Okay. Uh, yes. So, anyways, I may share again maybe at later on. But anyways, so what I wanted to do actually, I was trying to set this up so we are able to stay on the screen, but this is not giving me that option or whatever. But let me see. Let me see though. Let me see. Desktop. Yeah. No. So what we're going to do right now, I'm just going to bring it in this way, like the banners. I didn't want to do this, but what we're going to do is, and I can't see this because it's sort of small. So let us start with let's start here. Let's start here with this particular point. All right, so this is Oaks, your particular thoughts or something that was very impactful to you. Would you like to read that and tell us why, or if you have questions about that?
yeah, sorry, was this the testimonial I gave you, Queen?
This was you about having a conversation on about tarot today versus,
Yes. Would you like me to read it, Queen?
please, that would be lovely.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into this conversation about how tarot was versus how it is today. The truth is, when divining with traditional tarot, the diviner read the cards and the cards spoke. The reader, the diviner, was not interpreting what the cards said. The reader, the diviner, wasn't feeling what the cards meant. The reader or the diviner communicated what the cards presented based on the cast that was thrown, based on how they were turned, based on what the card is and what it communicated, point blank, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so it's super important to understand that the magic of the tarot of yesterday was, in fact, that very few people knew the language of the cards. When a person would go and seek a diviner or a reader and they say, what do the cards have for me? What do the spirits have to say? They want to know what those cards are saying, not what you feel about those cards.
Super, merci. Thank you so very much. And that is a very common thing with, I think, almost everybody here. It was one of those things of that really stood out. So why was that so impactful to you?
Well, I have been guilty of it. I think I'm somewhat
Shots
guilty.
fired.
Shots have been fired all the way from Mobile, Alabama to the UK. Yes, they have. But I think the other thing that that also I thought was really, other than what you're saying, is what they mean, not what you feel. But actually, in taking it back to the fact that it was a more private language, and I think, and in that, it was, if you knew the language, you knew what they meant, and I almost have a feeling that maybe with other things that. The less you know the language, sometimes the better it is preserved. And I think obviously one of the bigger conversations within the book is about because this whole thing, like tarot, when people are like, you need to keep it in the myth that it was like you can't buy it yourself and someone has to buy it for you. It's because they were expensive. It was very expensive. But now with the kind of commercial and capitalistic thing of like the money to be made in tarot, more and more sets are produced and more people, and it's almost like that information is diluted. So I think that one of the great things about the book is that although it's a different tarot system, is really putting that heavy information and knowledge back into things, whether you choose this tarot system or not, to divine with. I think that's like an important thing, like the purity of the knowledge. It could only come from someone like you. And even if you're not using that system, you're gonna know how to be a lot better of a diviner, whichever card system you're using.
I'm happy that you mentioned that, because this is why the cards, the Imperial cards, are limited. I don't know how long I will have them printed, but how is something sacred when it is mass produced and everyone has accessibility to it? Mm-hmm. You're not going to be greater than the next reader if everyone has this book, if everyone has, whatever else. And this is something else too that I think is also very interesting. You will see some most decks that you see are all done through community funding. Most people, what is it? It's a GoFundMe situation or whatever. And so people do the community funding. Not here. Mm. So either I can invest in myself to invest in the community, and hopefully the community will be able to invest in itself. So this, and I want people to understand this as well. This is why I had to have you all on here, because when people look at the price, some people go, "Oh, yikes, whatever." Well, first and foremost, just the regular set of cards for me is $88. That's like the Hoodoo Omen playing cards. Why? Because I fund it myself. And normally I lose out on the cards. I can never get a full, and I probably never have the ability, I won't say never, but when it does come to these manufacturing companies to print these cards and things, it is very expensive. It is incredibly expensive. But my thing is this: if that's how it was, and that's how it needs and can be, yeah. And for those that's supposed to have it, will have it. But I will say, in the space of business, and also because I am wanting you all to connect to the ancestors and the spirits, it's imperative that I have you all, that I give you all the ability or the opportunity to have it if you want it. So again, going to PayPal or having this PayPal option of breaking up your payments into 4 installments. Here's the opportunity. Here is that chance. I don't know how long that's going to last. And it's not something that I did, but I had to update my system. They may take that away. So if this is the time for you to get this 4 installments, knock it out. Don't wait around on it. And especially with the Imperial cards, you're going to also see next Sunday why they are limited. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. Sasha knows. Y'all don't know. Nobody here seen the cards except Sasha. Well, now y'all seen
I
it.
know, like, honestly, I would recommend, if you can, it allows for it, get 2 sets, because it's like, if you're a practitioner, you're a diviner, like, you want to use those cards, but then because of how they are, you really don't, like, you want to preserve them. So I think Queen did an amazing job on both sets. It's not like one is necessarily better than the other. They're different, but they're just so yeah, they're sacred.
Merci, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that there's that. I mean, all of this is some people are saying this will be my final set. I'm certain of it. My thing is this. Again, if you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, these cards are both tarot and playing cards. What more do you need? If you want an oracle card, if you want oracle cards, just look at the spirits. They're in there as well. Mm-hmm. Another point that I want to bring up here, I don't even know which one I'm going to bring up at this moment, but let's bring this in here. In fact, can I bring them all in here? And I can. They're all uploaded now. the screen is far away, so I can't really see who this is. But let's see who we have here. I want to say this is Nelly because it has cry emojis at the bottom.
Give me 1 sec. I just want to make sure I can read it.
If not, I can read it for you.
Okay.
Okay. So, but the message and the foundation or the tongue of this system is not an African tongue. So, what were you talking about in that sentence?
So this is Queen's breakdown in between like the Todd and the Rider Waite and why it may be a hit and miss for some. With my approach, just academia and everything else, I just love to study. So I think just me knowing what these things mean and breaking down each card, I just apply that knowledge. But as far as what resonates, again, with that question that Queen asked throughout the book, I can understand why I was approaching it from an academic standpoint instead of a spiritual standpoint. And it just really honed into the fact that, I have treasured something that really wasn't of us, no matter how dark the people in the paintings are. So it really took me aback. Like, that's the one, again, page 27. It's early in the book, y'all, where I had to take a moment and then come back to it, because it's true. It's not of us. No matter how much we want to take and try to find similarities, it's not the same as being of our own experiences.
Mm-hmm. And it continues to say, it is not the voice of the enslaved. It is not the voice of West Africa. It is not the voice. It is not the voice of the past 400 years and the experiences of the enslaved people in the Americas or the enslaved in America, say people in America. So that is a huge thing. So you need to understand this point. How can you, it makes sense not to connect to something if you don't understand the language. Okay? If you don't understand the language. So my thing is whenever we're looking at these ideas and these different decks and all of these things, we want to think about it. I'm pulling a La Lune. Pour ce carte, le Tarot de Marseille. Okay, so this card set, yes, is talking about the moon. I can recite what the moon means, but I don't know what this is actually communicating. But more importantly, again, these elements are going to resonate with people from this culture. See, the Sudanese people who made the first pyramids see and express those pyramids a lot differently than the Eurocentric people that came to Egypt and saw the pyramids. Completely different feeling, a completely different meaning. See, when we had gold, we treated it a lot differently than when Europeans came and experienced gold. So when so even if you go look at the Wide-Awake Tarot and you see a sphinx in the in the deck, is not going to communicate the same. Why? Because the author is giving you what they want, which is why a lot of us thought that pilgrims were the good ones, were the saviors, up until it comes out years later that, baby, that narrative is not the narrative. That's why I tell you all, your truth and these truth are two totally different things. Hello, Kai, KT. Welcome as a new member.
I
And
just
thank you.
want
Yes.
to add. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to add to that. I think this was the time where I really had to ask myself, like, if both of these systems were on the shelf, which one would I have grabbed?
You asked that.
Yeah. And I didn't have an answer, and that scared me more than anything, that I might have been scared to pick this up when it's my people and of my people. So that's why it was so emotional to me, because each one of these cards are keys. And I don't know if there are a lot of tarot readers here, but each one of them is a separate message about life and what we're going through. So it's 78 cards and things of that nature. But reading this, like I said, I had my own set of notes when I was going through this experience of the reference guide. But at that moment, I really had to ask myself, would I have been brave enough to pick up this deck? So, because like Queen, just to show you the back, it's flies, it's snakes, it's it's raven skulls, and I know what they mean now because I have walked and studied under Queen's tutelage for the last 3-4 years. But just now starting out, would I be afraid? And it brings up a beautiful conversation that Josie had. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but just how we are brainwashed into thinking that this is scary, but that's when we are most connected to nature. We study these animals, then when they pass, we use these same animals as omens in our bone reading and everything
Mhm.
else. We don't even need paper. So just the cycle of life and how it is an instrument, well, not even an instrument, it's live spirits in these cards. I just know that if you really understand the gravity of what these cards can do, um, no, there would not be any room for anything else. And it's Queen is a purist, and at times it just seems that Queen's pedigree is so high you will never reach there, right? Because it's her entire life and the life of her ancestors in these cards. And for her to open this up and create this system and give it to us so we can connect back to our own, it is 400 plus years that you're holding. So I would love to see what other people's reaction is when they get to page 27. I know we've already tried to come up like, Queen, please give us a Facebook group, because you're going to go through these emotions, and if these emotions are absent when you are going through this book, I would say to read it when you're in a space where you can actually consume it. um I'll stop for now.
No, no, thank you for that. No, it means a great deal. But this is why, though, it was important for me to send these to different individuals, because again, I can only see it. And I'm going to tell you, Nelly, you had a very, very impactful moment in my life when we were talking about um, Hoodoo Heritage Month, and you were saying I was just trying, I was just trying to connect with my people and to celebrate. And in that moment, it was just like, I can see that. But because I didn't grow up like most, it never resonated with me that this is just a person that really wants to be with like-minded people. I grew up with a like-minded family.
Right.
I grew up in a city where we are probably 30% of the population, considering it was a town that we created, And so it's so imperative to be able to know how this does touch and it does come to everyone. So thank you for that. I want to pull up the next one. Not this one. All right. This is another one from Nelly, but we're going to come back to you, Nelly.
Okay.
Let me try another one here. Be Josie. What about this one for you?
Let's see, I can read it right from here. But when you have entered a space of consecration, ritual, anointing, and the integration of memory and experience in addition to the invoking of spirit, now the cards are living. Well, now the cards are living, the cards are breathing, the cards are waiting to guide you.
Why did that touch or impact you? And why did you choose this particular part of the book?
I think this is a starting of getting a culmination of what you're providing here. The importance and the impact of knowing that this isn't just a playing card. This isn't just, something I can play around with later. These are like real cards. These are real life things.
Spirits,
These
yeah.
cards, they're not going to steer you wrong. Like every time you flip one, you're cool for the rest of your life. You just have the book and the card. You're good at least for 30 years. Just to work through some of it. I think it's really important to just remember that. I think Paris had said it earlier too, just weighing in on like this isn't just a regular thing. This is a big deal that you're working with. This is a living, breathing situation.
Yes.
So.
And I love that because, again, it relates to any card set. Even with Rider-Waite Tarot, there was something that happened in their lives, the reason they wanted this image to be this card, and the reason these things meant what they meant. So it goes beyond just it's an image. Why is this the image? Rather, is this set, or one of my favorites, this is one of my favorite sets. The Editorial Tarot, where you are, I've always have loved this set. So like there's a reason why when you're looking at this card, that when they constructed this as a divination system, there's a reason that these plants are what they are. And this is why, like in the Hoodoo Institute and the Conscious House Hoodoo Institute, I go, roses for us is one thing, but Oakley, as a European descent, we got to identify what roses are for you. Because if I look at these roses, I may say, oh, these roses absolutely represents death. But culturally speaking, in a European space or an Indian space, it could mean money, it could mean wealth, it could be fertility. And so this is why you need to understand the system, the culture, the people, because that's going to give you the actual information. So yes, this is a living thing here. So it's not just as simple as I'm going to tell you the definition and keep moving on, as many people do. And that's why I'm saying when it comes to this, the book, the reference, it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody will be able to leave away from any aspect of your divination journey with insight and encouragement and empowerment to understanding what you actually have. Because if this is talking, then what are you doing? If you're going to tell me how you feel, your interpretation, why do you need these? Why do you need these? Why do you need these? If it's about how you feel, how you think, no. When your people are talking, when your ancestors, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-aunts and uncles, people that are waiting and have been trying to guide you, when they are talking, but you're telling people how you feel, or you're reading for yourself and, well, I feel this way and I interpret it this way. So you're just going to ignore them and waste your money? Waste your money on the card set and ignore your people talking because you're not a medium, but you have this. What sense does that make? What bigger slap in the face? I'm going to sit in front of my ancestors, call them up just to put them on mute. Okay? What is that?
Queen, may I say something very quickly as well, just based on what Joe said? The other thing that I was thinking about with this quote that we haven't spoken about is that the deck itself is actually being, if unless I'm mistaken, it's been consecrated by you. It's been worked. That does not happen normally with tarot decks. How they're printed, the mass-produced nature of it. You know, every card which is representing a specific omen or spiritual ally or whatever, you know, Queen has worked with that ally or that spirit. So it's far more than just a visual or an aesthetic rendering of it. Like, they've been involved in the process, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's much bigger than just kind of there it is sort of on a card, you know?
Yes, thank you. And I'm sorry for interrupting. And some people might say, well, Queen, how does that even work? Well, one part is I actually, which is why this is the 4th version of this set. There's 2 versions of just this artwork, but I had to first go to each spirit to see who would be willing to come through to communicate with you what this means. And that's on the base level of consecration. That doesn't even entail what y'all going to get with the Imperial cards. I'm going to put it to you this way, just to make y'all squirm in your seat. Your Imperial cards are going to arrive inside of a spirit. Now, how does that make sense? Just think about it. Okay. So, on the next space here, let's see, when it comes to this one here, this is also a Josie quote that I loved, that is huge. And that is, when it comes to the chosen cast and choosing and operating a cast, and this is honestly the most important aspect of this particular part when it comes to casting the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre, is the thread which is then preserving the culture. See, a lot of people don't understand that either, and don't know the magnitude of that. And this is why it's emotional to someone like Nelly. Because when you're looking at these cards, when you're holding these cards, you're not just seeing, oh, it's artwork. I have somebody holding a pie. I got somebody standing in front of this, or whatever the situation may be. I'm not giving you my interpretation of what or how these things can be applied. No. When you see a black snake, you know in the cultural space what this holds. So when I give you 78 cards of different spirits, some repeated spirits, it's holding experiences. If it's holding experiences, it's holding a memory. And if it's holding a memory, it's something that has happened. And if it's something that has happened, then it is history. It is now immortalized. It is now immortal. Okay? Of the preservation of what your people dealt with, of what your people saw, what your people endured. And it's not always this horrible, dark weight of clouds and cotton and whips. See, baby, that's American history. Were you not an African before that? That's why I don't really like listen to a lot of people whenever they're like, oh, well, the historical facts, they decided to open up the first black church. They were black before the church came along, my shawty. Tell that story. Tell the story about how the child had to go out to the tree and have a nail put over their head to cure their illness before they could even read your precious Bible. Tell that story. Eh? That's what I want to know. Tell me the story about why they decided to, no matter, even if they had been out in the field, they decided to put medals around their ankles and around their necks to at least to reflect your hatred. Tell me about that. But beyond that, Queen, that's, they're doing it for their protection. But guess what, my baby? Just 100 years earlier, when they was of the Fulani tribe, they adorned themselves with those same beautiful metals. And they weren't royal. It was just culture. They were farmers. It's that part that these things hold. So when you pull a card that's talking about authority and justice, it's the reason why the cats have pennies in the eyes and the rooster got coins around the neck. It preserves culture. Even in these cards, it's preserving a culture. No matter what the system, well, nowadays people are making, when it comes to traditional sets, like Toth, like White Rate, like the editorial, like the editorial Pardon Majesty Machet, for this one by Jean Baptiste, etc. When you're looking at these suits, it is reserved, it's preserving a moment in time that they understood these things to be. So can you understand the weight that they carry? And you see, that is not just a Black thing. It is a universal, it's a global thing that we all have to be able to understand and respect. Okay. Let's see here, because I don't know these until they come up. All right, so we just did that one. We just did that one. And now, this was Oaks. We'll come back to Oaks again. Let's jump over here to Black Bibliomania. This was your particular quote. Why did you choose this quote? Or no, this is your review. Excuse me. This was your review. Let me find a point. Excuse me, because I want to use this for a review post. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so that's in there twice. I believe that's also Oak's post. There we go. Here's one. This is the one that I was looking for. So if you would like to read this one for us, please. Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, there you go. I can't hear you, my love. Are you muted?
I'm sorry.
Everybody on mute. Go ahead, girl.
Casting in regards to this space, if you're going to master your divination skills, if you're wanting to be that girl or that guy as a diviner, then you need to, in fact, elevate your vocabulary. So we are cards. And the main reason why we want to say casting the cards. And then she shares a powerful story between you and your grandmère. Her, telling you how to cast the cards. You don't read the cards. Let the cards work you.
Mm-hmm. So why was that impactful to you?
It's impactful because, just like you say, your casting is important, right? Because now we've come accustomed to throwing the cards, or we just do like 3 cards or 4 cards down, or the cross. In this whole section, after you've given us the history, the divination, the cards, and so forth, there is a mega section on casting and historical casting, cast and what are used in other, tarot sets, and what will be used in this set. And so, putting those cards down will tell you what you need to do, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And what I love, the reason I'm happy that you brought this part up, Paris, is because A lot of people, because even in this reference book, I show you what a Celtic cross is. I break that down. I talk about the horseshoe um cast or whatever, and I show you these different things. Um, but when you start pulling our cards, so again, how you cast your cards, that is the blueprint or the road that is going to tell you what you're going to be talking about. What if you grew up in a culture where you didn't have no horses? Everybody didn't have horses. Baby, I mean, are you actually Irish? Do you really understand what a Celtic cross is and how it even implies or applies to the daily life of an Irish descent, let alone just someone born in Ireland? Do you understand the importance of knots and weaving within that cross as a magical method? Do you know that? Probably not. But what you do know is your people used to go to the crossroads. And there's a cast that is built off the crossroads. Why? Because we operated off of the cosmogram, as people call it today. Even in the direction of the cosmogram before we got here versus the cosmogram after we got here, we were children of the sun, but became children of the moon. So there's a cast that speaks to that. And it also reflects bone reading. And so there's a magnitude of different things, but then there is one cast that will destroy you. And that is called the working cast. And this was the first cast I learned in the first grade. And the reason it will destroy you because you don't even get to choose what the cards are going to say. You don't know if it's going to pull money, health, love, wealth, or whatever. Because the cards choose you in that cast. And the only way to work that cast is if you are connected to the cards. Can you feel the temperament of the cards? And that is discussed in this reference. And that is something that can be applied to any tarot set, any oracle set. This is why the book on its own, it's its own thing. Okay. In the chat, we have, it irks my soul that people have no other word than energy. Baby, we basic in 2024. We can't help it. How I want both decks, but the way my oh goodness, my computer wants to die. Hold up, slow up. Plug it up. I'm surprised the camera hasn't overheated, but we got a wind machine on it. To make sure. Yes, even my cameras have wind machines. So some people call it extra. I call it necessary. Some people need water. I need wind machines. Tomato. So all right. So this says I'm gonna go with the standard so they won't feel too precious to use. I'd be nervous about getting the Imperial deck blemished. These cards are woven linen and they are high quality that you cannot even burn them if you wanted to. But I understand what you're saying. But I will say the Imperial cards are quite precious in their design. It is the only deck. It is the only deck that is, this is why I did the card care. There's a part of the book that just teaches you about cards care, about your surfaces and those kinds of things, and spiritual cards care as well. So I understand. I absolutely understand. let's see. I want to see if we got through some of these other species of the conversation. We went to there as a child of the African diaspora. Um, Paris spoke very beautifully about that. That's on there twice. The space of original consecration. So we did that. Okay. Um, so this is another point by Nellie. Nellie, would you like to read this one for us and why this was another major point for you?
Yes. So building a relationship with your cards and those things are great if you're starting to read for yourself, but you should absolutely be waiting a good portion of your time before trying to read cards for anybody or to anybody. For anybody or to anybody. Um that is a major point for me only because this is a new system and it has such an enriched history to them. You really cannot rush the lessons. When you speak about 4 different books in one, I just want everyone to take a moment to realize what that means. And I would just go on the record to say that I really shouldn't see, in my opinion,
It's not opinion,
anyone
it's fact.
okay, giving flash readings within 3 to 6 months of obtaining this book. Um,
You're not going to finish the book. The book will take you a month.
Right.
Mm.
I'm still not finished reading the book. You know, um, it's really such a sacred and intimate relationship. And when B. Josie had a quote about the consecration, and Oakley spoke to this a little bit earlier, it really is it's going to take you a moment to understand what these spirits are, especially if you have not been through the institute, to even realize the work that needs to be done. So when I was reading it, especially, I know this is towards the beginning of the book, I mentioned it, but I'm losing words, but what I'm trying to convey is that this is not a rush process. This is a gift. These are living spirits. You cannot disrespect this tarot system. Because I'm sure you would have to answer for that as well. So, but what I'm trying to say is that this you need a moment. You need a moment to build a relationship with these spirits. It almost feels like I'm back in the institute because I'm sure when I pull a card and then I realize what the spells are towards the back of the book, and then I'm like, you know what? I think I need more time with you. There is a perfect session about the cards choosing you and working you from what Paris brought up in her quote. It's not a rush process. I know like at least 6 months to a year before you can trust yourself with these cards. Just imagine if you are living and implementing this in your life, are you trusting these cards with your life? If you pull this deck out and you say, okay, well, can I go down 6:30 today? And they say no, are you trusting these cards with your life to where you're going to take another route? Because if you cannot implement just the day-to-day things, you should not be asking big major life
Hmm.
events with cards for yourself or for others, because you are going to mess someone completely up.
Hmm.
I know that Queen is mentioning about where to find us. You won't find a lot of information under Impressive Magic because I take this so seriously. Before I answer any questions for you guys or even for myself, I take a moment to make sure that I'm cleansed, my space is okay, because connecting to the divine, when you're rushing, I know we don't like low energies and things like that, but who are you actually talking to? How are you actually connecting if you don't take a moment to really build this relationship, to study, to get some of these omens, go out and study the bees, the birds, the hummingbird vine. Do you even know what that looks like? Do you know how?
Which is
I
why
go
all of
on and
y'all
on and
break.
on.
Which is why all of you break sweats when you come to Mobile because we outside, literally.
Yes. Yes. And I just been walking this path for, like 2 or 3 years, but that's nothing compared to the 400 years that's packed into each and every one in a single of these cards. So, I just don't expect for anyone to come on Pisces. You have the two of wealth because I'm really going to be side eyeing you. Because
Block,
these cards just
spin report.
requires absolute faith. It requires absolute knowing that this is correct. This is where you should be. This is what you should do on your day to day. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And another beautiful thing that I'm happy that you mentioned this is because when it comes to this particular point in really taking your time and building a relationship and all of those things. Pardon, j'ai oublié la phrase. The thoughts escaped me because there was a very, very, very important thing here that you mentioned that I need to say surrounding taking the cards to see what's the space of the book and taking your, oh yes, that's what it is. So get this. If you show up and purchase this set as someone who already has knowledge and insight to tarot, you're going to need a moment to purge and to detox, to deprogram, to reboot or whatever. Like, because it's going to it will force you to tell the truth. And so at that point, so it's going to probably take, if you already know tarot, because I've been doing tarot since roaches could fly and fish could swim or whatever. Okay. If you're that person and you want this, it's probably going to take you longer than a person who don't know, because they're just going to be introduced and it's going to be thought provoking to them, but they're going to be able to receive it because they have not been oversaturated with misinformation. I'm not going to call it BS, but misinformation. But that was the first word that came to my mind. So anyways, so know that it's going to definitely take time. As someone who consecrated each of these cards, as someone who spent 3+ years on artwork and almost a year now on the book, I'm finding notes. So if I'm having to slow down, who the hell are you? This is why people are affected the way they are when they're in my space, because I don't operate from, ooh, what is Queen gonna do? And da 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 da. If it's not divinely given, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I do want to just remind everybody again that the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre right now is only available for pre-sale orders for the Conjure Spellcast podcast here on YouTube and the virtual coven. You all have a discount code in the group already. These sets will become public to the world next Sunday. I do hope that you all take if you are taking the if you're going to be at the Conjure Fete, you already have a set. Some of your sets are back here. You already have a set. All right. If you have an Imperial set but you want a standard set, you will need to go and purchase that. Use your coupon code, use the 4 payment installations, and do that. Is there anything here that I may have missed or something else that anybody wants to bring up? And again, like I said, I just want everyone to know that's watching this that this is not solely for a person of color, but if you are a diviner, this will definitely um elevate if you already have been reading or give you that foundation you need to be. I'm telling you, if you are a new reader and you start with this, you are going to be a beast in about
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 years.
Okay. It takes that long. Is what I'm saying. If it took you 3 years to create, it should not take us 3 months.
Mm.
That we
To Pisces. Okay.
Yeah.
So so this is like it's the craziest thing, but it's true. It is absolutely true. Thank you, Queen, for the discount. Got another Imperial set and a standard set. Well, congratulations for you. I'm gonna pray
Y'all
for you
buying up.
for the Imperial set, because baby, it's a whole nother game, but you're gonna see when y'all get it. Is there any last things that anyone wants to share here that you may have said that you wanted to say at all? Sasha, I would love to know, how do you feel hearing all of this after we have spent so much energy, time, and effort? How does it feel hearing this? And also, even Oakley, just because on the editor side, because both of them went through and baby, flea comb,
Red pen.
flea comb throughout. How does it sit with you hearing this?
For me, it makes me feel really good because I love books. Even though I write books, I just love books and I love constructing books. So that's I think our relationship works really, really well because I get to tap into just all your like infinite knowledge about things and be able to translate that and put it on paper so that you can share that with others. So the fact that just the people that you selected to read like the super plain copy, just the words, and you guys were able to receive all of that from just the content. That's really like encouraging to say when you guys get the book. Like again, like secure your wigs now. If not, you may not have one. So yeah, I'm very proud of us both. I'm proud of just this project in general and everybody that's helped, contribute to it because it's the first of its kind. So I feel like when it's all said and done, I'm gonna be like kind of attached to history, so to speak. So that makes me proud.
Well, you will forever be attached to history just in the acknowledgement,
Yeah. Wanted to say that because I didn't get to get my quote in or like my favorite part of the book because I feel like I'm biased, obviously. But when you guys read the dedication and the acknowledgement, and you just feel all of what Cole is pouring over everyone, it's beautiful. So yeah, this book has everything.
Mm.
Thank you.
You're gonna be laughing. You're gonna learn something. It's just it's so beautiful.
Thank you. And Oakley.
Yes, there was something that I really wanted to say earlier. Also, what you were saying about the truth of it. I think anyone who's been watching this, it either started with Sasha or Nelly, but the emotions went boom, 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 and it was like we just got hit with almost being on the edge of tears, one by one by one. And that's as well. But just to preface what you're saying about it being an open invitation, in the sense of so of course it is the first tarot system of its kind, but I think that something really, I'm trying to find the right words for it myself, but as it's testament to how much of a great teacher you are. But I think that what you were saying earlier really resonated with me about what you were talking about with history and saying you were also African before you were African American. But something I'd like to basically say to Europeans, we didn't start as Catholics either. We didn't start. The first church, I think that what was that rock before they turned it into a church in Ireland in the 5th century? And I think that this is why, whoever you are, you need to come to that because, of course, there are differences and those differences are cultural and they are specific. But also, there needs to be a return to those sorts of systems. And even if you're not using this tarot system, what you learn in it is to get back to what we were before that happened. So I think that just needs to happen, and everyone needs to read the book. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And yes, Nelly or Paris or Josie, y'all want to share any last thoughts or feelings?
I do. I do. I just wanna this experience and just being able to learn with you, learn under you has been, I don't even know. I'm trying not to like get too much because I see Nelly going, but just the fact that now African Americans, me, I have an heirloom that's not tied to anything traumatic. That's not a civil rights. You know, it's none of that. I have a true heirloom, a working, living heirloom that I can now give. You know what I mean? It's something pure. It's nothing tainted or something that I can give to somebody. That's different for us. And it's going to be hard for people to receive it because we're so caught in and brainwashed, like, you know, you're black, you're ugly, you know what I mean? They go down the list. But now we have something golden.
Literally.
And, you know, it's ours. And it's ours. It's no one else's. And it just it accumulates learning. Like when I first saw you, my literal thought was, she looks like me. To joining the institute after I harassed you, to all the books, to now here, it's like all that is now in this book that I can share forever, and it'll be forever. So
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And I appreciate that because, and again, I am blessed to hear this because I don't perceive or see those things. I come from a privileged background. My family has since a couple years after America was America, before Alabama was a state, and before the first settlers came over here. And so I only know the beautiful aspects of things. And it did not really, I'm going to be very, very frank with you all about this. It did not dawn on me to the massive amount of pain and horror that finally touched me was when Alton Sterling was killed in the parking lot for selling CDs at the back of his trunk. At that moment, and I was outside of Benson, Alabama, when I finally realized, baby, it don't matter if you are Benson, a De La Live, a Milner de la Pond, outside of your upbringing, you're black. And when you look at that blackness, it's not beautiful. It is dangerous. It is traumatic. It is all of those things. So to be able to give you all the beauty of us that I know, that means a lot. I've never thought about it in that way. So thank you so much, Josie, for that. Nelly, are you able?
I am going to try to pull it together. Lord.
Look,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Paris. Go ahead.
She's still getting herself together. Go ahead, Paris.
well, I just want to thank you for this. I think when I first started reading it, one of the things that really stuck out to me was the reverence of your ancestors, the thanksgiving, with everything in you. It was just inspirational. It's inspiring to see you before you talk about anything. You give thanks to them for the blood, for your blood, for the knowledge that they have given you. That was something that was very impactful for me. Another thing is, and we discussed this, in today's society, everything is a bit rushed. It's very minimalistic. It's very quick, straight to the point. Taking the time to be thorough and to really explain things just so you don't miss anything, that was very impactful for me, because after you're done with this book, or even in the middle, you're going to understand what you need to understand. It's going to be explained to you, and I appreciated that so much. I just want to thank you.
Thank you so very much, Paris. It means a great deal, and like I said, um, I am humbled by the kindness. Um, just because I know all of your experiences are different, and it's beautiful to me that all of you have different experiences. All of y'all are from different states and countries, but you all, through the text and not the cards, have connected on very similar, if not exactly the same spaces. I mean, I think that speaks volumes to what this is. And that's why I said, to those that watch and that may want to hate and want to try to, if you try to hate on this project to any capacity, you are just either you're mentally ill, or you are just a hater, which that's your job, is to hate, um, or you're delusional. Because nothing in the book is a direct attack, and it wasn't even an attack until Nelly said I chose violence one morning. I didn't even know. I was just giving observations. The plate is hot, don't touch it. That's all I was saying. Little did I know I actually threw the plate in your lap. Um, but it's understanding that I do come out of a place, and I'm operating out of a place of love. That's it. And love is heavy. And most of y'all don't even know what love feels like. You know what kindness feels like. You know what intimacy feels like. You know what passion feels like. But do you know what love feels like? And sometimes it can get a little bit rough. So I thank you all for humbling me in this moment. Nelly, are you with us?
Just barely. I just really want to speak to what Tammy just said. It really is a celebration. Growing up, I wasn't necessarily celebrated. It takes me back to your conversation with Ia, and especially how sometimes she didn't like her gift. And I realized that I'm going through in my mid-30s what she was going through, and when she was 5, 6, or when someone was able to explain to you what you saw when you were 3, like just the heaviness of that. And so, just what I have been searching for to kind of explain all of the things that I can do. You were the first person to actually name them. So it definitely feels like an open invitation, a call home, and also where I can now be validated, I can now be seen, and I can now be valued for what I can do. And I'm still in the process of discovering that now in my mid-30s. And you mentioned something in your book about being the first one. And sometimes it's just kind of scary to think that like my ancestors gave me these gifts, but they didn't teach me how to use them. And it's quite a charge and a responsibility that you have. And just being so acceptance of me. I know I'm Miss Can't Get Right at times, but I trust you wholeheartedly. And with this text, and when you said that you are connecting to everyone who has done this in the past 400 years, it really shakes me to my core, because when we're talking about just the spiritual kingdoms and what I'm able to do, I know what this means, and I wish that it could be in every library for any little Black girl who is struggling with what she sees and doesn't really understand. And just to kind of save her from all the trials and tribulations that she may come to when you finally like break down, like, okay, what is going on in your mid-20s. I just think about my descendants and just the people that's under me who I can share this with. And you are really, I know Renaissance, and I'm not talking about Beyonce, I'm talking about Harlem and all of these things, revolutions. There is a cultural renaissance that's making us return back, and we don't have to go so far as Egypt and the ATRs. We have a beautiful tradition here in America. And I know that countryside really wasn't even supposed to be a thing until your family had seen what how the other person rejected. But I'm so fortunate because people like me, we can find a beacon in you. And this living text, this living system, I just pray that one day it is available on the shelves. When I couldn't answer the question, if I would have grabbed it, if someone else would be excited to grab it, and no longer have to be afraid of themselves. And so I just want to thank you and thank the ancestors and for providing this gift.
Thank you, Nelly. I really appreciate that. It means the world to me. Again, what you all will learn about me, and I say this every conjure fact, I just do what I'm told, and I don't really know why. They say do it and it's done. I did the Conjure Fit year one. A black girl from the UK comes over and finds her father in Mobile for the first time in her life. Never met him, but I did it. Second year, do the Conjure Fit. Well, just because and these are the things you got to do, and these are the people you got to bring in. Okay, I do it. Families that did not know where they came from found their ancestors in the Africa Town Cemetery. They came over on the Clotilda. I I am honored that I have been cultivated, groomed, chosen to be who I am and whose I am for you all. Um, it's not something that I wanted to do. It was not a plan of mine. I was going to be a dermatologist, and that was my route. That was I'm gonna be a dermatologist, point blank, period. Biology major. That was that. Had to double major due to Auburn paying me for the vocal performance scholarship, but she was going to be a dermatologist. And even me as queen did not require me to be this public. That's what I'm saying. Like that part, I did not care to do or be. And that's why you have to understand your purpose. Because it has nothing to do with you. You don't even get to choose. And so you either have to answer and step up to that purpose. And sometimes that purpose may align with the profession, but not always, and most of the time it doesn't. So to be able to be this for anyone who is willing, that's why I don't throw people under the bus. That's why I don't have to call out this one, that one, the third. If I'm not for you, I'm not for you. And I'm okay with that. You're not meant to be in my space. You can't handle the truth. And that's okay. Something that came to me this morning around 4 a.m. was, Queen, you got to make sure that the people know that this may not blow up as well as you want it to. Why? Because the majority of the people you look at online that you see with all of these followers and so popular, people resonate with who they are. And most people resonate with the delusion and the lies of the day-to-day. It's more of them than it is of us. But the beauty of what the Hoodoo Tarot de la Livre provides is that it will touch a generation that hasn't been contaminated and oversaturated with the BS. So I don't know that in my lifetime I will be celebrated by, I will be acknowledged and honored in the royal spaces. But in today's masses, I don't know. I don't know. Would it be great to see that? It'll be great to appreciate it. But the masses do not validate what I do. But what does validate me is when I see a medium here. Somebody didn't even know what Ashe was until we began to do our Hoodoo days walking. To those that are able to walk through the cemetery today and tell people, yep, baby, that's you. And the person that I listen to, every dream that comes through, I'm listening because it's true. And I'm honestly connecting to a person who didn't understand these spaces and now today is fully accepting their French heritage and hermeticism. That is where I'm paid. That is where I am able to go, okay, girl, you're doing it. It's not the I can conjure a storm. I do that shit because that's what people want to see. Baby, that's a Tuesday for me. That ain't the real work. But this here that I'm seeing is able to have another graduate handle a whole cabin of individuals that are like, why are there 38 buzzards hovering? Baby, that's on you. That's your charge. You know, it's beautiful as seeing Isaac, who's a part of the institute right now, saying, I did not ever believe that I could conjure in a day, in hours. I did not think that I would have to afford a car, and now I own one in hours of doing an assignment. Is these kind of things that I am grateful that I have been chosen to do this kind of work. You know, and I've said it time and time again. I don't know how long the institute will last because I'm very comfortable and confident with the information that has been given to those that have been given to at this time. I'm very okay without writing another book because what I know is Sasha could honestly write any book that I have thought about writing, or made me think about writing, because she knows me so well, and we've spent 10 years now of just having conversations about a plethora of things. And it's all of that. So I'm grateful for you all. I would love it if you purchase, because I would be, I'm gonna say this and then I shouldn't end on this note, but I'm gonna, even because one, in fact, author got so full of themselves after the popularity that came after I printed out a book for them, was my book, to be honest, is my book, where I present your outline, the idea, and I'm just asking you questions that you're filling in, became so full of themselves that they was like, well, I think I deserve more. And someone told me that, that I should be getting this and that and the third. And it's very clear because we have or this has, or they have more reviews here than there. Well, baby, let me tell you something a little bit about business. See, you're looking at a third party database that says that you got 400 reviews. That's fine. The reason why is because I have not exploited the information that you have given. I haven't made products based off of what you have given, planetary or indigenous or Latinx or New Orleans, because those are all of my different spaces. But I haven't exploited that. But what I do is people purchase directly from my site and order more things than Barnes and Noble or Amazon or whatever. But what I would be so grateful for is with this book, with this system, if you're purchasing it from the website, please leave a review. Once it's available on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or whatever, please leave a review. You all, as people of color, we don't support each other like we should. We don't. When Clan Mother presented her things, the whole indigenous space said, we're here. When I have my Latin books out, the whole Latin community, if I like you or not, they gonna support. But when it comes to us as people of color, it's not the same as brown people of color or black, whatever color you shade you are. I don't care. Black. Um, so I would love to see that we are, myself, Sasha, and also with my assistants, we are working to get this into spaces, into libraries, into bookstores, so that those little girls and little boys will have the literature that many of you were looking for. And again, like I said, that just blew my mind. It's just like I didn't experience that. So how would I even know that I need to create something for them or that, you know? And when you do come across this, or maybe gift the book to somebody. Maybe just purchase the book and give it to somebody, not even the cards. That's why I'm not pushing the cards. What I do know is this: you can't read the cards without the book, but that book gonna change you. The card's gonna drag you, but the book gonna change you. Okay. It's been a pleasure. I think I'm so grateful that I have found this community when I found it as was divine timing. Thank you for the group who is speaking out, and of course to you, Queen. Merci. Thank you so much, Zakia. Tommy, thank you, Queen, of course, and the panel, Sasha, Impressive Magic, Josie B, Black Bibliomania, and Oaks. You all were amazing. I'm so enjoyed spending my Sunday with you all, and thank you. I would love for everybody to, if you are here, if you could once more tell people how to find you, beginning with Sasha, then Nelly, Josie, Oaks, and then Paris. Just tell people how to find you, if they want to follow you or support you, if you have something coming up. I would be so grateful. Sasha?
Mm-hmm. So my personal page, you can find me at XOXO Sasha SASHA underscore Ravae RAVAE, or at our just main business page at Black Eden Publications.
Okay, and do you have any projects coming up or some ideas that you may be putting out soon?
Yes, so I should have mentioned this in the beginning, but now that I have found myself in this like alchemical, like hermetic space, I'm really taking some time to be a student, you know what I mean? But also because I am finding these like older texts, then I feel compelled to reintroduce them to the public. So that's gonna be my charge for this year, is just all the things that I'm encountering and I'm learning to be able to bring that back and present it, to my readers. So definitely follow the page. I'll have more updates, as because this has taken over my life. This book took over so now that we are at the end of it, yeah, I'll be able to, go more in that direction. So definitely follow for more.
Thank you so very much. I
Yes.
greatly appreciate it. And if you don't support Sasha, then you're not supporting me. All right. I'm just letting y'all know, because this would not be without her. This would
Thank
not be
you.
without her. It would not have happened. I promise you that. It would not have happened.
Look, just a PDF.
Not even a PDF. I can barely get those over to my assistant. You may have gotten a good hour and a half conversation.
Look,
Maybe. I'm just letting you know. Okay, and
listen.
listen, y'all, we are still waiting on the confirmation of the books, because when I tell y'all we've been so diligent about combing through this,
Yeah.
um, we're waiting. We have put one of the prints in order, and it's still pending. I'm thinking it's going to take 2 solid weeks before I have it in my hand, and that week should be coming up this week. That's going to really give me an idea of um how quick the turnaround time will be. Um, Pre-orders for the Coven and Spellcast podcast, your pre-order ends next Sunday. The public pre-orders will end on the 25th, I believe, of March. But for the Conjure Fat, we are already preparing just to make you all a workbook because it's going to be a crash course. Because the Conjure Fat is not going to give you time to read through the acknowledgement. In fact, I'm going to skip over the acknowledgement. You can sit and read it yourself. In order for us to get done what needs to get done is a crash course, but we have a lot that we're rolling out behind this. So just be aware. Nelly.
Hey, I am underscore Nelly Nails on Instagram. I think impressive.magic on Instagram as well. But yeah, that's where you guys can find me and follow me along this new tarot system journey. It's so fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Josie.
There I go. Everything is Josie Startech, STARTECH. Instagram, Facebook, all of it.
All of it. Wonderful. Thank you. Oaks.
I am social media free, but if you would like to read my book, it's called G&T, and it's out with Outspoken Press. It's quite saucy, so it might not be for everyone.
This is quite a saucy group anyways. Let me just say that to everybody. Everybody in this chat is very spicy. Y'all are like reading, y'all are hearing what they're saying, and y'all are so touched and moved. Baby, when I hit end stream, you can find them at the valley where the girls get naked. Okay. I'm just letting y'all know that now. Don't let this. Yes, Queen, I've been touched. This is so baby. Listen, down in the valley. But go ahead, Oaks.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, so y'all follow and definitely support Oaks' book and back Black. Yes, we just.
What was the book called?
Oh, it's called G&T, like the drink.
Yeah. Thank you.
Super. And Paris.
So you can follow me at Black Bibliomania. It is my bookstagram, where I do book reviews, book tours, like where I go to different bookstores and tour their Black section. I also have a music history podcast called Music Buffs, where I talk about the different inspirations upon generations for Southern hip hop. And that's at Music Buffies IES on Instagram.
Yes. Thank you all so very much. Oaks, could you put your could you type your book in the chat? Someone is asking. If you can.
Of course.
Or even a link to find it would be wonderful. Again, I want to just remind everybody to please go get your February community service. It is available now. Also, today's the last day to get that. The last day to get the African Traditional Religion and Bible Conjuration spell class that's also ending today. Today is also the last day for you to get your in-house Conjure Fat tickets and Conjure Fat tickets with products. Tomorrow, the only ticket that will be available will be the ticket that comes with no products. Okay. If you want the discount today on your card sets, go join the virtual Coven or Spellcast podcast. That link is over in the description box as well. I honestly, again, just want to say thank you all so very much. There's the book, Oaks. Thank you so very much.
Sorry, I need to type it. It's called G&T. I don't know if it's
Thank you all so very much for today. I hope that you all subscribe to this channel if this is your first time here. Please give the video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Share this video. I mean, there's a lot in this video to unpack. Y'all go blast this. Take this link and go share it in your Instagram stories and say, go listen, go watch. Go tag some of your favorite readers. So anyways, listen, we can choose violence on Sundays, right? So anyways, my loves, I thank y'all so very much. And you all have a blessed one. And just because I'm shady as hell, trick or treat. All right, one more time. One more time. All right, everybody. I wonder what y'all end up getting. I'm wondering what you got. So, I hope you all enjoyed this. This has been a pleasure. Thank you all so very much. Many blessings. I will see you all not tomorrow, it's Monday. So I will see you all on Tuesday. Bye bye.